Hey, house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 26 updates and spoilers. It's October. Oh my God. Happy spooky season. Our house guests of the day are Rob and Sumner and Angie Vega. Thank you all so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate you so much. So thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, we've got like a little under 2 weeks left of the season. Oh my goodness. So if you're interested in that, check out our Patreon link in the description below. And down there, you will also find a link for Paramount Plus if you want to try out the live feeds for these last few weeks. And if you use our link, it really helps us out. So thank you again for that. All right. When we left off the other day, we had Kimo and Rubina up on the block. Mackenzie had won the power of veto. Who could have seen that coming? It was BB Comics. Can't wait to see all the comics on Thursday. And Mackenzie, when we left off, was thinking about maybe using the veto. Even before the POV competition, even before she won, she was thinking, if I use it, if I win, I might use it on Rubina, try and gain some favor with her because Mackenzie is terrified of a scenario where Rubina is the veto winner next week and the sole vote to evict. And she's like not in good standing with Rubina. Maybe Rubina votes her out. So she's really worried about that. So she's like, if I use the veto on Rubina and I put up Cam or Chelsea, she'll be on good terms with me, right? Because I took her off the block. Plus, Mackenzie would still be able to break a tie this week and basically decide what happens. She would still evict Kimo, but she's hoping she'd be able to gain some favor with Rubina. So after the power veto competition, Mackenzie and Chelsea were pissed at Cam because he did not do well in the comp. They feel like he's been throwing all the comps, including BB Comics, and they're really paranoid that he's gonna like turn it on and start winning and in this end game here, and they think that he's going to ditch them for Rubina and Kimo because they are easier to beat in the end. Which I don't think Cam is actually throwing competitions, and I think he is very loyal to Mackenzie and Chelsea at this point. I think mostly to Chelsea, right? I think he wants to go to the final two with her. But yeah, he's not been performing well in these competitions, and Mackenzie and Chelsea are getting super paranoid about him. So they're thinking Cam is playing this game where he just throws everything and has good relationships with people. He doesn't get blood on his hands, and that is making us look like bigger threats. So, number one, the jurors are all going to be happy with him. Number two, people would be more likely to bring him to the end over us because they feel like they can beat him. So Mackenzie was thinking about putting, is the chat working? That's the only chat I see. I don't know. Is it? Let me know. Mackenzie is thinking about putting Cam up on the block. Oh, it is working. Wonderful. But Chelsea was having second thoughts about that move. She's realizing it would not be good for her game if Cam left. Did she get upset with him? Yes, but she brought it back in and she was like, I can't be getting rid of Cam right now because she knows Cam would be more likely to take her to the end over Mackenzie. So Chelsea wants to convince Mackenzie to leave the nominations the same. She even gave Cam a heads up, like, Mackenzie's really pissed at you. She thinks you're throwing comps, which is funny because she tried to like lay all the blame on Mackenzie when Chelsea was also very pissed about it. But anyway, on Sunday, Cam and Mackenzie are chatting in the HOH room, and Cam is promising that he is not throwing competitions. He's talking about where he went wrong in the BB Comics comp. He says it really sucks to keep losing in front of his friends, in front of America, in front of the dogs in the crib. I added the last one. But he's really frustrated about this situation, and it doesn't help that Chelsea and Mackenzie keep criticizing him every time he loses. But he's like, I'm an athlete. I don't want to lose. I am not throwing these comps. So Mackenzie brings up that even Kimo did better than him in this BB Comics comp. Ugh, she's sticking the knife in there, right? So Cam says rubbing it in really doesn't make me feel better. I'm not into that. And he says, I guess I'm just in my head too much during these comps. He compares it to the yips in sports. And Mackenzie was being really condescending, I gotta say. She was in this conversation like, "Oh, your time will come. It's okay. A for effort. Everything happens for a reason. Like maybe you'll win next week." Can you imagine if Cam does win next week and he takes out either Mackenzie or Chelsea because they've been such jerks to him about this? But Cam says he feels like he does better in the competitions where you can see your competitors and compare your own competition to how they're doing. You know what I mean? Like you can see how they're doing. More of a head-to-head type of competition. Okay. I mean, he hasn't been great in most of them, but Mackenzie says, "I believe in you. It's all going to work out." I think part of the problem too is that Cam is like not familiar with Big Brother in general. So he doesn't know like what to expect with these competitions. Also, like, I don't know. I mean, unless there's like a football competition, he's just like not doing great in these. But anyway, the house guests were chilling throughout the day on Sunday, and then Mackenzie and Cam chatted again late afternoon. And it was more talk about how Cam has to start winning competitions so that he can protect Mackenzie and Chelsea next week. Because again, Mackenzie is terrified. What if Rubina wins the veto and then she picks who goes to the final four? Or final three, sorry. Who goes to the final three? So Mackenzie's asking Cam, what would you do if you had the sole vote to evict next week? What if you were in a position where you had to choose between me and Chelsea? Like if Rubina won HOH, what would he do? And Cam says he hasn't thought that far ahead. Sure. I'm sorry, but like the translation there is I'm not picking you. I would pick Chelsea, but I'm not going to say that to your face. I'm pretty sure he'd pick Chelsea, right? So Mackenzie tells him, you should probably start thinking about that because that is not a decision that you just make in one day. Oh, girl, he's thought about it. But anyway, they talk about the options that Mackenzie has with the veto this week. Of course, Cam does not want this veto used. He does not want to go up on the block. He doesn't want to be at risk here. And Mackenzie mentions, I was even considering putting Chelsea up as the replacement nominee. She was considering it. Would she actually do that? Probably not, because I don't think Chelsea would be happy with that. And Mackenzie does not tend to go against Chelsea's wishes. So, yeah, Mackenzie's explaining this would just be to build some goodwill with Rubina going into next week, make sure she doesn't take me out. But she does say Kimo would still be the target this week, of course. Like she wouldn't want Chelsea to go. But she feels like she's probably not going to do it because Chelsea would not be happy about going up on the block, even though she would understand the reason for it. Yeah, she's not going to be into that. So Mackenzie is talking again how she's just really scared for next week. She knows she has a huge target on her back from winning so many competitions. Oh, I've just won so many. I can't help it. I'm an athlete as well. So Cam is saying, well, if you're scared about this, final three is going to be even scarier. So Mackenzie says, no, it's fine because once we get to the final three, it's more of a celebration at that point. We've all made it to the end. We'll see if she still feels that way, if she is the one to get cut at the final three. Something tells me she'd be pretty disappointed if it was Cam and Chelsea in the end and she was not a part of it. But eventually, Chelsea does join their conversation, and Mackenzie wants to know who should be the target between Kimo and Rubina. Mackenzie is leaning towards Kimo, but she wants to hear what everybody else has to say. So Cam says he has no preference. He's fine with either Kimo or Rubina leaving. Chelsea says she thinks that Kimo should go because he has been better at the mental competitions, and she suspects like the days competition will be coming up, when they get quizzed on what day things happened or the order of events, order of whatever. So, I mean, yeah, it should be coming up soon, right? They haven't really done that yet. But Chelsea says Rubina does not know the days as well as Kimo does. Plus, she feels like Kimo has had a few clutch wins, right? He has won an AI competition. I mean, Rubina has too, but Kimo has also just recently won a veto during a double eviction to save himself. So he is able to win under pressure. But she thinks that Rubina is probably going to crumble with it being 3 versus 1 in the competitions. So Mackenzie agrees. She says the 3 of us should be able to beat Rubina. No problem, right? She's not been great in comps so far. So it seems like they're keeping their target on Kimo at that point. Chelsea and Mackenzie proceed to then rag on Cam for not winning competitions. Chelsea's like, Cam, I'm really worried that you're not going to pull your weight and win next week. Sorry, that was really gross. I didn't realize how much phlegm I had in my nose. Oh my God. But Mackenzie and Chelsea are saying we have bigger targets on us than you do because we've been winning this whole time. We've been carrying the team. And they're talking about how if Rubina gets to vote next week, she's going to be taking out one of the girls, right? Because they're bigger threats to win this whole thing. So they're telling Cam, we know you would be okay if you didn't win next week. You would probably still make it through because people want to go to the end with you. But we will not. We have to win, or you have to win and keep us safe. I mean, what they're saying is correct, but like, that's a lot to be saying to your ally. So Cam is telling them, I am going to pull my weight. I am. He's getting really frustrated the way that they're talking to him. Like, he's not even trying to win, just even suggesting that he's throwing competitions. He's like, I didn't get to this point in my life by like trying to lose things, right? He's really angry that he hasn't been able to win. So yeah, them bringing it up constantly is not helping because he gets more and more in his head about it, right? So like, he really needs a win at this point. So in other news, Mackenzie was also getting really annoyed that Kimo and Rubina still at that point had not talked to her about what was going to happen with the veto. I mean, yeah, normally the nominees will talk to the HOH talk to the HOH, but also talk to the veto holder. She happens to be both this week. Just see, like, is there a chance that she would use the veto? Like, you're not even going to try to talk to her about it? That's insane. What are they waiting for? So every once in a while, speaking of Kimo and Rubina, they were talking to each other about how Cam and Chelsea would take each other to the final 2 and not Mackenzie. Okay, but like, are you going to talk to Mackenzie about this or no? Are you just like trying to get this message to her telepathically? You're going to have to talk to her. So later, Mackenzie and Chelsea are chatting alone, and they are on the same page at this point that it's just best to leave the nominations the same, keep Kimo and Rubina up there, and vote out Kimo. They do trust at this point that Cam does actually want to go to the final 3 with them, not Rubina. They feel like Cam is a man of his word and will stick with them. So, crisis averted with the veto. But Rubina finally has a game chat with Mackenzie at like 1 a.m. Oh my God. So 1 a.m. the night before the POV ceremony. What were you doing all day leading up to this? Why did you not do this sooner? It's just crazy to me. But I will say those last few hours leading up to it, Cam was also in the room, so she couldn't really talk about it with Mackenzie. But like, there was so much time before that she could have talked to Mackenzie. She could have even just been like, hey, can I have a few minutes with the veto holder? I'm on the block. So Mackenzie lets Rubina know pretty quickly she wants to keep the nominations the same, but she lets Rubina know you're going to be safe. Chelsea is on board with keeping you. Even if Cam flips his vote, I will break the tie to keep you. And guess what? Rubina is not really pushing back on this. Are we surprised? I mean, the gameplay from Kimo and Rubina has been so minimal. Rubina does tell Mackenzie, if it's up to me, I would take you to the final 2, which I don't believe. I think there's like no way she takes Mackenzie. But that's what she's saying. And then they discuss how Cam and Chelsea would likely pick each other. Rubina's trying to be like, hey, they're not going to pick you. Like, maybe get rid of one of them, take somebody else. It's not working. Mackenzie has already made up her mind at this point. Rubina also mentioned that she would vote for Mackenzie to win over Chelsea because Rubina was asking Mackenzie, what happens if you and Chelsea are in the final 2? And Mackenzie was like, oh, Chelsea would probably win. And then Rubina was like, I don't know, I'd vote for you. You know what that tells me? Okay, I'm gonna vote you out because you're gonna be a jury vote for me. But anyway, Rubina was just not driving home the points that she should be focusing on if she is trying to get this veto used. But I think once Mackenzie was telling her she didn't want to use the veto, she was like, all right, well, that's done. And she was just trying to focus moving forward on how she could maybe get in with Mackenzie over Kim Chelsea. Good luck with that, girly. But after a bit, Chelsea joins the two of them. And Chelsea and Mackenzie again are pushing that they want 3 women in the final 3. It's never happened before. Okay. But they're lying. Anyway, I do believe that they seem to think that there have never been 2 women in the final 2, which is crazy. But they are lying about wanting to go to the final 3 with Rubina. They want Cam in the final 3 with them. They are covering their bases with Rubina just in case Rubina wins that veto so that she would pick the 2 of them over Cam. So Mackenzie is saying, I know I talked to you earlier this week about potentially using the veto on you and putting up Cam, but she's like, I don't want to tip off Cam about our girls alliance by using the veto. Come on. So Rubina actually offers to stay on the block. It's too much. It really is too much. But Mackenzie and Chelsea are reassuring her she will be safe this week, which again, she should be. It should be Kimo leaving. It does seem like they are set on that. But girl, you're in trouble after this. So let's talk about Monday. It looks like Kimo did not even have a one-on-one with Mackenzie, the veto winner and HOH for the week. He did not have a one-on-one with her before the POV ceremony. What an idea, right? Are you serious though? Are you really not going to talk to the veto winner and HOH? And you're on the block? What are you even doing? Why are you even here? I feel like Kimo has not been playing since Tucker left. He did that one move with T-Core to flip the vote and keep Rubina, and then he was pretty much donezo after that. But in his mind, he's like playing this amazing game. It's crazy. So yeah, Mackenzie did not use the power of veto. Kimo and Rubina remain on the block. This was the first time this season that the veto has not been used. Can you believe that? We're like in the last 2 weeks, and this is the first time that the veto has not been used. Absolutely wild. But sorry again. After the ceremony, Kimo has a brief conversation with Chelsea, and he's talking about how he's such a big fan of the show. Could have fooled me. And he says he will do anything to stay, but he will not be campaigning against Rubina. So not exactly anything. But he says he will advocate for himself as he campaigns. We'll see what that actually means to Kimo, because I don't know how much campaigning he's actually planning on doing. We have a little bit that we'll get to in a minute, but later, Chelsea and Mackenzie are chatting, and it's more talk about how they want to go to the final 2 together. They feel like they have worked harder than anyone else to be there. They have been the ones winning competitions, making moves, and they want to make sure that they win the rest of these competitions so that the power will be in their hands. They do feel like Cam is with them. He wants to go to the end with them, but they really don't want to leave that to chance if they don't have to. So they would prefer to win the competitions themselves. And it seems like they do genuinely want to go to the end together. I'm still a little bit skeptical about Chelsea. I don't know if she would choose Cam over Mackenzie, but it does seem like she does want to go with Mackenzie. Who knows for sure though. But yeah, they also don't want to give Cam and Rubina the chance to take each other to the end. So later, Kimo attempts to campaign to Cam. There was not a lot going on here. Kimo says, I want to go to the end with you. I think we have the best chance against each other to win. I would agree with that. Cam and Kimo, neither of them have much going on their resume. So I definitely feel like their best shots to win are against each other. But Cam agrees with this also. He says, Kimo, I really do want you to stay, but I do not want this to be a split vote. So I have to talk to Chelsea. I have to talk to Mackenzie, see if I can get the 2 of them on board with this. So I think he really does want Kimo to stay, and I think he has made the arguments already that Rubina should be the one to go. And he said, like, oh, Rubina could be better in physical competitions than Kimo would be. But he hasn't pushed super hard against what Chelsea and Mackenzie want. So I don't know how hard he's going to fight for Kimo. But it does seem like he's trying to push this decision and the blame onto somebody else. We've seen him do it before, right? All right. So after, Kimo asks Mackenzie, can we have a one-on-one at some point when you get a chance? And Mackenzie does agree to it, but she did not want to talk last night. She was telling Chelsea, like, why didn't he talk to me before the POV ceremony? Why is he trying to talk to me now? She's not sure what she's really supposed to be saying to him. So she's like, ugh. She didn't want to do it last night. So later, after that, Kimo and Rubina are chatting, and they're sad. They're sad that they're still up on the block next to each other. But I mean, like, you didn't really push that hard to prevent it. I think they just felt like maybe Mackenzie would just magically use the veto and keep them. Like, maybe she'd even find a way to keep both of them. I don't know, but you got to kind of like put in some effort if you want stuff like that to happen, usually, like, come on. This is like the last 2 weeks of the game. But Kimo, he tells Rubina, I'm not going to say anything bad about you. We should both do whatever we feel we need to do campaign wise. But Kimo says part of him doesn't even want to try to stay. It just kills me that he says he's like a super fan of the show, because I haven't really seen it. I don't see that. He talks more about how he wants to be an influencer after this than anything else. Like, does he even realize he's playing for money at the end of this? Because he doesn't seem too motivated here to try and stay. But anyway, they figure that Chelsea, Cam, and Mackenzie must have a final 3 deal. Why else would Kimo and Rubina be up on the block when Cam and Chelsea are more likely to beat Mackenzie in the competitions and potentially at the end? So it's so weird to me how they keep bringing this up as if it's new information. I mean, they've already talked in the past about how they think those 3 have an alliance, but every time it's brought up, it's like, oh my God, like, I didn't even think of it, but like, that must be the case. Why else would this be happening? They also talk a bunch about how they want to start a podcast together after the show. About what? I don't know. They're talking about being influencers, which Rubina is already like an influencer, but now Kimo wants in on that. I just want people to be there who want to play the game and who are actually like trying to make moves. Not this influencer BS. But yeah, that was all last night. Today, nothing's been happening so far. We're still waiting to see this one-on-one between Mackenzie and Kimo. It has not happened yet. The only thing that I've seen so far on the feeds really today is people slurping ramen, people meaning Kimo, and some singing. Cam debuted a new song today. It did not even have to do with Big Brother. It was just like a regular song that he wrote. And honestly, it was okay. It wasn't bad, but like, doesn't the show own like any artistic property that they create on this show? Like, if I was trying to write a song for real and like sell it to somebody, I would not be singing it on the show because they're going to take it. It's not yours anymore. So I don't know if he realizes that, but like, keep it in your brain. Yeah. So anyway, that's where we're at right now. We'll see if they decide to do any gaming later, if there's any campaigning happening. We'll see. We've got 2 days left until the eviction. So got plenty of time. So thank you all so much for being here. I will be back tomorrow for another live stream chat. And I also I want to thank all of you for being here. And I want to thank our super chatters especially. So B Tina, thank you so much. Ha ha ha. We really appreciate it. Shane Wright, thank you so much as always. You're a real one. Brady, thank you so much for the super chat. This is Brady's 5th super on a live stream. Yay! Brady says, I want to be happy for Chelsea, but I can't. She's such a predictable winner for such an unpredictable season. Right? It does seem like we should have a more chaotic winner, but Chelsea really has had a stranglehold on a lot of these people's brains for a long time. I do think that she would be a very very deserving winner for this season, but it wouldn't be the most exciting ending. I would agree with that. But I do think she is a very deserving winner. Thank you again, Brady. Sean Davis, thank you so much. Sean says, I can't believe Chelsea had the audacity to say that Monty's final two speech was more articulate than Taylor's. Did she forget that the majority of the jury wanted her out? I know. I saw that and I had to like cross reference it with other people's updates because like I couldn't believe what I was reading. A huge part of Taylor's win was her responses during the Q&A and her final speech. Like she really swayed a lot of people. People did not realize the type of game that she was playing until she was able to answer those questions. So it's crazy to me that she's like saying that Monty was better in the final, like what? In the speeches? I don't think so. Come on. Taylor had an iconic final two speech. It is one of the best final two speeches that we've seen. But yeah, it kind of tells us some stuff about Chelsea. But anyway, thank you again, everybody, for watching. We'll be back tomorrow. Hope you have a great evening. And until next time, much love. Bye, everybody. Bye. Bye.